What is going on, golf fans? It's your boy Gsluke here with our DFS core plays for this week's Masters. We're finally to the first major of 2023 and stoked to have some of the live guys back, a true full field major, and going to break down here in this video all of my top GPP plays for the top end of the Draftkings pricing board. So some of my core plays, foundational pieces of my player pool that we'll be getting behind, which it's pretty hard to choose up top when you have such a stacked field. Not only do we have all the top end guys on the PGA, but guys like DJ, Cam Smith up there. The 7K range is loaded with guys that were at once top 40, top 50 players in the world. So it should be a competitive leaderboard, absolute fireworks over the weekend. But here in this video, gonna make sure you're armed with a few plays towards the top of that pricing board, like I said, that you might want to build a few lineups behind. So let's go ahead, get this video started, and hop right into the Masters. As we typically do in these core play videos, let's go ahead and take a look at our key metrics for the week that we're using to identify our top plays. So over here on the bottom right tab, we've got our key metrics, which usually I black out the weighting, but for this week, we're gonna bring it in front of the paywall for you guys. So over here on the right is how important each stat is. So starting at the top, shots gained approach is pretty much always going to be at number one, and this week that is no exception. It's worth noting that the long iron ranges are utilized a little bit more than they are for most weeks, just because of the layout of Augusta National. A lot of those long par fours, of course the par threes are demanding, and then the par fives, they're all right on that border of being reachable. So that's why these, 225 to 250 in that 250 plus yard range are a lot more important for Augusta than they are for pretty much any other track on tour. Around the green is the way that I'm trying to encapsulate a player's creativity. That's why around here you can see shots gained creative courses, where I'm taking a look at this course, Muirfield Village, Kapalua, and Riviera. Now at the Masters, we don't have shots gained metrics, so I'm just looking at overall shots gained at the Masters, which of course is our number 3 key metric here. It's in 10% of my modeling. In fact, it's double counted here. It's only counted in about a fifth or a fourth of the projection up here, but mostly over here with course history. Course history tends to be extremely sticky at Augusta, so that's something I'm weighing quite heavily this week. Shots gained at majors. In terms of your putting, you want to be looking at 3-putt avoidance, shots gained on fast greens, and then also the surface is bent grass this week. So opposed to that Poa Trivalis overseed that we've seen for, 4 of the last 5 weeks. Now you're looking at just a regular old bent grass surface. Off the tee, it's much more about distance than accuracy. It's relatively wide open here off the tee. Also, the rough is essentially non-existent. Par 5 scoring is a good way to separate yourself from the field. Birdie or better percentage, important for some of those top-end plays. And then in terms of comps, we're looking at Riviera. It's got all the difficult green complexes, another golden age design. You have Memorial, which is there for the Muirfield Village, another difficult track, especially with the green complexes. Kapalua has been comped, and it's both ways, right? When we're at Augusta, we talk about Kapalua. Anytime we're looking for comps at Kapalua, number 1 is going to be Augusta National, so that shouldn't be a surprise. But more Memorial Park, another really tricky course on the greens, and then St. Andrews. I know they have much larger green surfaces at St. Andrews, but similar kind of contouring that you don't find at many courses around the world. So with that being said, in general, we need guys that are solid approach players, but the real key differentiator, at least for me this week, is the around the green play, right? That creativity factor, and then experience on top of that. So it shouldn't be a surprise that at number 1, I am going with Rory McIlroy. He is $10,600. He's 7-1 to win this golf tournament, up there with a Scotty Scheffler in terms of the outright odds. And I think it might be his time to go out there and finish off that career slam. And a lot of it has to do with the recent putter change that he's made. If you guys didn't catch it before the WGC match play, he went back to an old blade Scotty Cameron and looked a lot more athletic out there. That's what he has said in a few interviews since then, that it lets him be a little bit more of a field player. And it's all in anticipation of playing here at Augusta National, which, like I mentioned, I think it's already 2 times here, but we'll say it 4 or 5 times throughout this video. And this course requires creativity. It's all about touch. The greens have tons of undulation. They're some of the fastest greens you're going to find around the PGA Tour. He knows that he's going to have that touch to go out there and, again, finish off that career Grand Slam, right? I mean, we're all thinking about it. What do you think he's, dreaming about at night over the last 3-4 months, right? So we know what his goal is this week. At the WGC, just for what it's worth, another course that has relatively sloped greens with Austin Country Club, he went out there and lit it up. He was a gainer. If you look at some of the advanced metrics, a few databases have done like pseudo shots gained for the match play. He gained on the greens. He gained prolifically off the tee. He gained about 8 strokes off the tee. But if you take a look at this recent form, especially the last 24 rounds, he's been outstanding, gaining close to a stroke per round off the tee, gaining 0.8 strokes per round with the approach play, has been an ever so slight loser with the putter, which has been the issue, right? That's why he had to go out there and change it up. And if you take a look at the last 12 rounds, the ball striking has remained. In fact, he gaining close to a stroke per round with the approach play, but the putter gets even worse, right? Losing 0.8 shots per round with the putter, which is just unsustainable. He can't do that, go out there and win the Masters. So I love the fact that he went out there, he changed it up, and for all accounts, it worked over there. And I know it's a different green type, but historically, bentgrass has been one of his better surfaces. He's about half a stroke better per round here at bentgrass versus his last 24 round baseline of losing 0.2 strokes per round on the greens. So I love the upside. I like the way that he's trending at this course. I mean, you got to remember that Sunday charge, or I don't even think charge is the right word for it. I mean, just there isn't a word for it, right? He shot 8 under par when the scoring average was like 3 over par. So just outstanding stuff from Rory. I believe made like 9 birdies on the day there on Sunday. Finished in second place. You do have 2020 finished T5. That technically happened in 2021, but I'm calling it the 2020 Masters. There in 2018, right? Another T5 finish. Just the guy has been close so many times at this course. He fits it perfectly. Again, we're looking for distance. We're looking for approach play with those long irons. He's one of the best long iron players on tour, one of the longest players on tour, has the course history. And then around the green, right? You go, oh, well, how's that been? Well, you can see the around the green stats. They're not elite, right? Gaining 0.2 shots per round. But historically, he's like always been a gainer around the green. He has that soft touch around the greens, and at Augusta has flashed that ability over the years. Absolutely love going to him up top. I do think that he'll be chalky, as he's always going to be anytime you have one of these large field events where a lot of casuals are playing, right? A lot of, the less involved fans love Rory McIlroy, right? And are going to play him in bunches. So that is definitely going to be there. You're going to have to consider the game theory aspect here in these GPPs. But anytime you're playing in a major, you're going to have to eat at least a little bit of chalk to go out there and take it down. And he's one of the few pieces that I will be eating. Next up, we've got Justin Thomas, $9,300. And for JT, he's another similar elite around the green player. So unlike a Rory, who I'd say is like above average around the green, Justin Thomas might be the best around the green player in the world. He's at least in the top 3. You've got Cam Smith, Patrick Reed, and then Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth is a little bit inconsistent. I mean, obviously gains a bunch because he chips in so often. But those 3, at least when it comes to form, technique, and whatnot, are almost undoubtedly the top 3 players around the green. I guess Scotty Scheffler you can start to throw into that. Him and Spieth are alike, where they're a little bit aggressive when it comes to the chip shots, but they have great creativity, which is why Jordan Spieth and of course Scotty Scheffler have won at this golf course before, right? So that's why it's something that we're looking for. But JT is in that same vein of player, right? He's the elite of the elite when it comes to around the green play. And of late, the shots gained metrics haven't been up to his standards, we'll say, right? Around the green, 0.6 shots per round, right? Showing what we're talking about. But getting 0.6 shots per round on approach, that has started to improve over the last few events. Gaining off the tee, and the putter, a slight loser. Very much so on brand for JT, except maybe we expect him to be closer to a stroke per round on approach, maybe closer to like half a stroke gained per round off the tee. So he's not too far off that elite level Justin Thomas. And the recent finishes, I think, are misleading, right? The T10 was nice, but the T60, the T21, they're not going to get any sort of attention, right? They're not sexy finishes. Your average casual fan's not going to gravitate towards that sort of player. They want to see these T3s, like even a JT, right? A Jordan Spieth. They'd rather go to than a JT. A Cantlay, you got a top 20 finish, right? They're going to look at that T19 so much differently than the T21 at the API. A T4 finish, right? Or Max Homa, right? You know the form that he's been in. These sort of players are going to just draw a few more eyes than a Justin Thomas. So unlike a Rory McIlroy, I think he'll be relatively low owned. If you take a look at the event history, we know Rory has elite course history. It's been near elite, at least above average for Justin Thomas, right? T8 last year, T21 did have a fourth place there 3 years ago, T12, just consistently making cuts here. A few times has gotten himself into contention, and one of these years, maybe instead of just getting into contention, it's popping for a win because he goes out there and gains a stroke or two putting. So I love the price tag. $9,300 is more than fair, and I don't think he's going to be mega chalk. Now, Patrick Cantlay is probably the chalkiest player in this range. Jordan Spieth, who you guys know I'm going to be playing this week, is probably going to get some attention there. But, Max Homa probably going to get some attention too. So I'm hoping that that's going to lead to him being like 15% out, perhaps even less than that, which would be excellent for us this week. Next up, we've got ourselves Jason Day, and this is a lot about of experience. He is one of the most experienced players in this field, at least the relevant players, right, that aren't past champions playing it for like the 30th time. At $8,700, everyone has been talking about Jason Day. Everyone's been playing this guy for a few months based on how well he's playing, and I feel like it's been crickets this week. I haven't heard anybody talking about him. I don't think he's going to be as chalky as he has been over the last few months, and this is like the perfect course for him. He's one of the best around the green players of all time. He loves this course, tears it up around the green and on the greens here, and has been gaining with the shots gained ball striking for the last 3-4 months at this point, right? It's not just here in 2023. He was a stud during the fall swing of this season, right? That's why he's up there in the top 15 of the FedEx Cup standings at this point. Even over the last 12 rounds where he hasn't been quite as solid, right? It hasn't been like that superstar self that he was, let's say, like a month and a half ago. Still gaining in the ball striking categories. And then around the green, the putter have been just lights out, right? Like he's always been like that, so that shouldn't surprise us. The ball striking, we may need it to get back to this like half a stroke per round, right, off the tee and approach numbers that he was posting there for the last 24 rounds, but that's more than possible. And he's at $8,700. I think it's a fair price tag, and kind of like a JT, you have the Cam Young around him. I think DJ, and I'm going to be playing DJ this week, is going to get a bunch of attention. Tony Finau has really good course history here. He's a stud. Wouldn't fault you for playing him either. I very well may as well. These sort of players are going to draw attention. We know Xander's going to be chalk. Guys like Victor Hovland are usually 20-25% owned every single week. Maybe Jason Day is 15% owned, maybe less, right? Like a Justin Thomas. That's the idea there. You want to look at the course history. It's been great around Augusta National outside like these last 2 years. Before that, I believe he had one missed cut his first ever performance here, and that was like 12, 15 years. It was a long time ago for Jason Day when he was a young whippersnapper out there. But T5, 20th, a bunch of other top 10 finishes mixed in. So if you take a little bit of a broader look at his record at this golf course, you'll get the idea. It's much better. In fact, if you look at his full career sample size, is gaining to the field over a shot per round in terms of shots gained total, which isn't top 5 in this field. I believe it was like top 15 in the field, but still excellent course history. And the recent form, right? He's in one of the hottest stretches of golf that he's had in his career. So somebody that fits the golf course to a T, and that I think would have been super mega chalky a few weeks ago, and now people want to throw him to the curb. That's when I'll jump on. And lastly, we've got Sungjae Im, who, if you want to look at event history, I think a lot of people would probably be sleeping on this, don't realize that he's been pretty damn good here. T2, missed the cut, and then finished T8 last year, and he's got the perfect skill set for this course. And something to mention, and I can't believe it's taken this long to bring it up, is that the conditions this year are going to be a little bit softer than most, so the course is going to play long. That's why JT, who's a near bomber, right? Jason Day still hitting it a mile off the tee, and of course Rory, right? Potentially the longest player off the tee. I love because of their driving distance. Sungjae Im, sneaky long off the tee, and also a sneaky good around the green player. You take a look at the last 24 rounds, you'll see that he's gaining close to half a stroke per round, and last year and the year before that on the PGA Tour was number 1 in bogey avoidance. And you may say, oh, bogey avoidance is all about tee to green play, and sure, Sungjae, fantastic, right, when it comes to tee to green play, but his around the green is consistently, even ever since he was a rookie on tour, been top 25 on tour when it comes to scrambling and his around the green play. So you're looking at a well-rounded player who plays well here, and I think the creativity factor plays directly into his skill set, and he doesn't get enough respect for this, right? Sungjae Im, not as marketable to some of the American fans, just the general public that are watching golf week in and week out. But I think if, he had the same personality as some of the more popular players, that he would be appreciated for his true skill set, which is, first off, he gains across the board like a Xander Schauffele, and he is unbelievably creative. I've seen him multiple times at this golf course playing slopes that I haven't seen other players taking advantage of, that guys like Adam Scott have taken advantage of. Maybe, took a few notes during a practice round with them or something like that. That wouldn't surprise me, them being President's Cup teammates. But on top of that, Sungjae Im has been creative at other courses like the BMW Championship there in the playoffs. He had literally took a 90-degree angle to a hole and was able to sink it from super far out. He's not the best putter from 10 feet and in. Like he's for whatever reason, he has a hard time hitting his line, but you give him a super creative kind of shot that he's not expecting to make. There's the kind of putts that Sungjae Im makes. So that's why I think he's got that T2 finish, the T8 finish here at this golf course. I think it plays into his style of golf. I think when you put him on a flat course that's super easy, that it maybe psychs him out a little bit. Like he needs that challenge to be had. I know that a few of my friends that I play golf with and I've played with over the years, especially in competition golf, feel that way about greens. They play better on harder golf courses. So Sungjae Im, I'm getting to. I mean, the shots gained speak for themselves, right? He's literally gaining across the board. The putter has just been like okay. On bent grass for his career, he's been decent, right? Gaining 0.24 shots per round, which is just ever so slightly better than his baselines, which I'd be okay with, right? That's fine for Sungjae. Obviously, hopefully, we hope that he pops to go out there and win this golf tournament. But I think it sets up very well for him out there. The recent form has been there as well. I know we didn't focus on it with Jason Day, but T19, T10 finished 4th at the WGC match play, and then Sungjae Im down here, T6, T21. All of these players are in form. The only one I'd say has sketchy form might be a JT, but right, it's T10, 60th, and a T21, right? It's all of these guys up top are in fire form, and you can't say that for everybody here in the 8 and 9K range. And perhaps there's a few guys to get leverage too, but just to point them out, right? Like Matty Fitz at $8,000, right? Not in the best form. Hideki, other than his performance of the first, I'd say third round here at Valero, not really in the best form, right? You could argue that DJ, right? We don't really know much about his form. Cam Smith, the same kind of thing. Those are going to be your true leverage spots, right? If there's a skill set fit that you think fits Augusta National, you don't care about form at all, play them. I'll tell you, I'm playing at least 3 of those guys. It's just pure leverage plays. You don't have to worry about that with these PGA Tour players, right? We know the kind of form that they're in. We know their long-term skill sets. So that's why they're core plays for me. So don't get this wrong, right? These aren't the only guys that I'm playing up top. There will be a few of those pivots that I end up mixing in. But in terms of core plays, foundational pieces that I feel confident building around, these are the 4 that I'll point out here for this video. Alrighty guys, that is all I've got for the core plays this week. Before you're hopping out of here, go ahead and let me know down below who you think is going to end up winning this golf tournament. Just make sure they're not one of those 10K golfers. So no cheaping out, right? Taking a Rory, a Rahm, or a Scotty. I'm going to go ahead, go way out of right field and take Jason Day. I think he's trending in the right direction, perfect course fit, and the value you can get on him in the outright market was enough to get me to fire the outright bet. Bet all 4 of these core plays, also have a Jordan Spieth outright and a Tiger Woods outright. Might keep it at that. Might just keep it at those 6 players for this week. But yeah, let's go ahead and take Jason Day for the video here. Go ahead, let me know your thoughts down below. And as per usual, guys, I appreciate all the support here on the channel. Go ahead, smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That way you don't miss any of the content in the future. We'll have value plays dropping on a little bit later this evening. We'll have our fades and sleepers, weekly live stream Wednesday at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss any of it to come. Like I said, appreciate all the support here on the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time for the value plays video.